I am Bonneau Ansley, an active real estate agent and founder of Ansley Real Estate, Christie's International, an award-winning Atlanta-based real estate brokerage that did over $3 billion in sales last year.
And I'm Chris Tuff, one of the first advertisers to work directly with Mark Zuckerberg in 2006. I've since gone on to be the best-selling author of The Millennial Whisperer and Save Your Asks.
And this is Brokering Billions. This podcast is about uncovering the hustle, perseverance, mindset, and tricks that are used by the top real estate agents in the country to help you take your business to the next level. In today's episode of Brokering Billions, we're going down to one of the hottest markets in the United States, Palm Beach. And we're talking with Elizabeth DeWoody. Elizabeth's first year in the business, she did over $50 million of transactions.
So how do you go from being a marketing person at Procter & Gamble and then all of a sudden being the #1 agent in your market almost overnight? Well, Elizabeth is going to share her secrets today.
Oh my God, Chris.
Yes, here we are.
Good morning, my man. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited because I've got a really good friend we're about to interview. Guys, I'm Bonneau Ansley.
And I'm Chris Tuff.
We're Brokering Billions. We're sitting here in the headquarters of Ansley Real Estate, Christie's International, and I got across the line here in Florida, Elizabeth DeWoody, and she is just a friend, first of all, somebody that I look up to. She's in South Florida, kind of runs around the Palm Beach area. God, she's taking me where'd you take me to dinner that time? Jen and I.
We went to the Sailfish Club, right?
Love that place. I mean, just big boats everywhere, right on the water, big houses. I mean, I felt really good there.
You and everyone that's moving there, right?
Elizabeth, you've had just a stellar run over the last several years. We're going to get into that. You know, our listeners are agents across the country, and they love picking up tricks and traits of folks that broker billions. And listeners, last year, Elizabeth did $250+ million of sales.
Unbelievable. On her own, right? On
her own. She's an individual agent. She's got support staff. But she really is just a rock star, and her business is really I've referred people down to her, and she just does such a heck of a job. So we're going to dive in, figure out her secrets to success.
I love it.
And everything in between. I mean, so born in Miami, right? I mean, you're a Southern Florida girl.
I'm a Florida girl. Yep. All through and through. Never lived anywhere else.
Even went to Florida State.
Yes.
What do you think of the football squad over there?
It's great. It's always great. It's a great experience.
Yeah.
You don't have to win all the time. Although I was there when we were national champs, but it'll come back.
We
missed Bobby Bowden. Let's put it that way.
He was a great guy. He was my cousin actually, went to FSU and worked under Bobby Bowden as, one of his assistants in the Booster Club, which is pretty cool. So you've got a really interesting career, and we've talked to a lot of people, and how they got into real estate is a cool thing, you were kind of a big wig at Procter & Gamble. I mean, you were on the corporate world for a while, 15 years or so, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I started out of Florida State University with Procter & Gamble in marketing. It was like the marketing job. And I wasn't really a big wig. I started very low level, stocking shelves with Folgers coffee and Sunny Delight. I don't know if they're still around, but anyway, so and I moved my way up to sales manager and then Southeast marketing coordinator. I did all the marketing for the Daytona 500 for Procter & Gamble.
Wow, cool.
I mean, at Procter & Gamble, in the marketing world, that is some of the best training you can get from a very analytical, right, numbers driven. Talk about that. I mean, so you had that as your foundation before you got into real estate.
I had like marketing, sales management. Yes. And it was just business, great, great, great training ground. Bottom line, how to manage time. I mean, I was working remotely before there was a working remote. They handed me a computer, a car, and a big box phone. Remember those big box phones?
Wow, cool.
And so I would drive around and I worked out of my bedroom, back, I don't know how many years ago that was.
So Elizabeth, what moved you to say, hey, I'm going to leave this corporate world. I'm going to dive into real estate. When was that? What was the turning point there?
Well, I didn't. I went from Procter & Gamble to Johnson & Johnson. I launched AccuView disposable contact lenses in South Florida. And I got married and had 2 boys and raised my family and didn't work. I quit after, I don't know. I hadn't worked for 15 years before I came into this real estate world. So I've been doing it for 6 years now, and it's been awesome. I've loved it. And what led me to it was, I always traveled. I was always on a plane, at meetings, and just wanted to raise my family. And I didn't want to do that anymore.
I want to back up a minute here. I mean, so are you telling us that, did I hear this right? That you've been a real estate agent for 6 years? Is that accurate?
Yes.
All right. So listeners out there,
gosh.
right? In 6 years she started, and then, I mean, I'm not going to calculate the GCI of doing 250 million, but I mean, that's kind of life-changing, right? I mean, for the family and everything else.
Absolutely. Yes. I feel very lucky and fortunate.
So take us to year one. Take us back to year one. I mean, was it an epiphany? You were like, you know what? I'm going to try this real estate thing. And then you just went all in.
So I did not want to get on a plane. I wanted to be with my family. My boys, my children were, in high school, and I was a hovering mother and I was about to ruin them. So I had to go back. I wanted to go back to work. I like to work. I'm not really a tennis player. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So my husband does commercial real estate in South Florida. He grew up here in Palm Beach, and I didn't. I'm from a really small town in Central Florida, kind of outside of Orlando and Tampa area. So, my sister-in-law really said, you should sell houses. You should sell my house. I was looking for something to do. And I wanted to get into technology, too old to do that. It wasn't lucrative enough. I didn't want to work, 9 to 5. So anyway, I got my real estate license and I sold my sister-in-law's house. And I said, all right. And I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it on the island of Palm Beach. So I went with a nice firm, Brown Harris Stevens, and then I went with Corcoran, and then I just grew it from there.
And then you got the opportunity to start the Compass office, right? You were the number 1 agent. Office.
I really sought out Compass because I liked the technology platform. It's kind of my shtick, and I like the entrepreneur. I just really appreciated what they stood for, which was bringing high tech touch to my clients, to my customers. I built my business on $100 Zillow ad. I bought a banner ad on Zillow for $100 and got a call on a lacrosse field with my children. I want to buy a house in Palm Beach. I didn't know who this guy was. The most amazing man, has become friends, has purchased probably, I don't know, well over $50 million, bought and sold, Palm Beach homes. And that was when I started. So then I spent $200 on a Zillow ad, and it just started rolling. That was when there were like 3 heads that popped up and you could click and go, I want to see this house. And so I would show up and show the house and convert the buyer, and then they'd become sellers. And that's how I built my business.
So do you remember what you did in your first year? You remember that number?
It was less than 100 million. It was less.
Sure
than
hope so.
Less than 100
Wait,
million.
who are we talking to right now? I did 16 million my first year, and I thought I was just like the best guy in the world. I mean, Elizabeth.
Did you? I don't know.
Under
I gotta look at it. I don't remember, but it was good. It was good. It was like, oh yeah, it was good.
So it all started with one house. Elizabeth.
No, it started with the Zillow ad. How many listeners now are like, getting leads off Zillow, and like she started on a Zillow ad in Palm Beach. Now I got to say, like, you picked the right area to start. That was great.
Right? Yeah.
And then what's happened down there, and we'll talk about your market, like it's gone bananas in your 6 years that you've been doing this. Guys, it started with betting on yourself, buying $100 ad and a $200 ad. And then I'm sure you kind of started going more and more and more.
Right.
And then what? I mean, did you create your own website? Did you start really branding yourself?
Yeah, so marketing is my background, sales is my background. You know, I just kind of aligned myself. Again, I changed firms along the way, kind of, and I was just lucky I sought out Compass. They were in Miami, they weren't here. And then I was fortunate to be the founding agent of Compass Palm Beach on the island of Palm Beach, you know, where the average, you know, your average, there's nothing under $1 million in 33480.
Right.
There's some condos, but so, you know, it was a great network for me. Then I started getting some leads. Actually, Beno, another amazing client is our mutual client and friend, you know, Amy. I sold Amy a house, and then she introduced me to you and these amazing Southerners who I love and align with. And then, you know, the island of Palm Beach is just, it's very, it's an investment. It's not really a home. These folks typically will have a home in Aspen, a home in the city, New York City, and Palm Beach or the Hamptons. That's kind of where everybody rolls. So there's a lot of velocity.
Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Can you define everybody, please?
my customers. Yeah, my client.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So take me through your mindset of, you know, I talk a lot of entrepreneurs about that line between kind of making it happen, right? You putting it out, you know, doing the Zillow ads, doing these things, and then it kind of organically starting to take on letting it happen, right? It starts to kind of create its own momentum. Did that happen in the first year for you? I mean, if you did just under 100 million, I mean, it sounds like it did, or are you just a driver?
I'm a driver. I mean, it's just, like I said, I started working in my bedroom. So I learned before the pandemic and before everyone was working out of their house, just how to manage my time, how to sell.
Take us through that. Like, how do you sell? There's a lot of agents in your market, right? They're all competing for similar clientele. What do you do differently in the sales category?
By the way, I mean, everybody in Florida is a real estate agent, right? I mean, it's got the most licenses going. Like, do you just have, I mean, you know, is it your EQ, your emotional intelligence that you're able just to connect with people, right?
No, I mean, yes, that's a part of it. I think you have to be honest and diligent, and it's, you know, yeah, customer service is huge, right? With anything. And it's just work. It's just work ethic. It's hard work. It's not easy. It's very time.
Let's define customer service, right? So let's take Amy and her family, right? I mean, customer service, that's talking to them about schools and who the doctors are down there, and, you know, the clubs, and introducing them to the folks to start joining. I mean, it doesn't end with a sale, right, Elizabeth?
Right. No, absolutely. It doesn't. No. And I become friends with most of my, you know, there's definitely a relationship that I love that about this. I wasn't expecting that. I love meeting. I mean, these people are awesome. My customers are amazing. They're smart, they're successful on their own right. They appreciate data. They do. You pointed out data. I believe in, you know, this is an emotional business, but this is an investment. So I have to be really thoughtful about providing my clients with the right information very quickly.
What would you say is your average price point yourself in Palm Beach last year?
My average deal is 5 million. Now, you know, it started out at 2, then it went to 3, and now it's at 5. My average. It might be higher even now.
Not a bad average.
The median price of a home on the island of Palm Beach is now $13 million. And that's a little dumper. It's nothing like in Atlanta, you know, what I'm seeing you list. So, you know, we have to know land value. We have to know, I also have to be able to align my customers with insurance is a nightmare here, which is what I like about Compass also. Compass is building an end-to-end platform, where you can shop and buy, and everything is just, it's all at my fingertips, and it makes it really easy, particularly when my customers, I mean, they're rolling in, they're rolling out, they're not living here. They want very fast, easy access information and support.
Like a buttoned up transaction. So you sell a house,
Yeah.
you got the insurance figured out for them. I mean, what's
Yes.
insurance? Is it 1% to 2% of
Oh, you can't even get it in Florida. It's become a nightmare on the coast. I mean, these it's the pure, it's the Chubb that are the ones that are writing. If you're what we call east of 95, if you're on the coast. I mean, I do the island of Palm Beach, and then coastal West Palm Beach is crazy on fire now also. So a lot of these homes are older. They're not to new FEMA, flood requirements, are because of the flood requirements everything's changed. So yeah, a lot of my customers, they used to self-insure, you pay cash and you don't have to have insurance. So now when rates were really low, they were getting mortgages. So a lot of the banks require insurance, but because a lot of these folks have a lot of various houses, all over the country, they would cross collateralize, or the insurance company would cross collateralize, and they could get insurance. But if you don't have that, it's very difficult and it's incredibly expensive, which is why new construction homes are on fire, because you have high
compliant and
elevation,
everything else. Yeah.
have all the stuff that you need to get insurance, and to get affordable insurance.
So take us through, everyone has a superpower, right? Like, I think especially the ones that have differentiated themselves from the pack, right? Which you've obviously done after 250 million last year on your own. So what would you say, Elizabeth, is your one superpower? What is that? Is it the data thing? Is it the relationships? What would you kind of pinpoint as that one superpower for yourself?
Is it the immediate connection you build during the first 5 minutes of getting a phone call?
Yeah, I think it's the getting in front of people. I think that's very important. And I mean, yes, it's been getting not just a phone call, not a Zoom call, but the one-on-one interaction.
But how are you creating those opportunities for yourself? I mean, is it the clubs?
Well, it started with the buyer. It started with, a Zillow lead, click, call me. Sure, I'll show you the house. Boom, I meet them, and then I'd convert them, and they would use me as their buyer's broker. And then if I have it, then I would get listings, and then I would hold open houses any chance I could get to meet people. So you meet other buyers, and then you get another buyer. So I think it's been really getting out there and meeting folks. That's how I started. And then, and now I have a referral. Now my business is very referral driven, which is so nice.
So it just kind of operates on its own. Have you given up the Zillow leads at this point?
Yes, I don't pay Zillow any more money. They have, I hate them now. They, everything you just got to, and it's also being, I think you have to be really, really, quickly pivot, or whatever the term is now, but just be able to adapt to this crazy changing environment. And so I was pretty able to, that's just all I knew, and how to, change your marketing, change your direction as your business grows, and build a good team. That's another thing. I mean,
build a good support team.
Build a great support team.
A lot of agents here that are listening are at a point where there should be hiring an assistant, or a buyer's agent, or a showing specialist, a closing coordinator, these type of things.
Yep.
How do you work your business? You are the one agent, right, on your team. How does your support staff support you? Love to walk through that.
Yeah. And I know you and I talked a little bit about talking about this, speaking about that. And we have, an attorney that we both work with, and some of my clients said, you got to talk to Beno. So and I just kind of evolved. Really, first thing is Compass. I moved to Compass, and they sent me an amazing gentleman, as I paid him a salary. He was my operations coordinator, and he knew all of the Compass technology. He's 30 something millennial rock star on Google Sheets, everything. So he took it all and he said, you got to copy me on your emails. I was like, okay. So I didn't know how to have anybody, help me. I did everything, wrote my own contracts, the whole 9 yards. So he took that and he ran huge teams in New York City. So he was really pivotal, and we work great together. So I really owe my success at Compass to him, Peter Kahn. He's amazing.
Is he all yours? Is he just yours on salary, or is he?
Well, now Peter actually is now. So he started as my director of operations, yes, on salary and some override. And then he wanted to move into sales. And so he is now my managing director, and I have one assistant. I'm hiring another one. And my assistant just sits at the desk and does everything else, schedules appointments, writes contracts, et cetera. And here in Florida, we have attorneys on deals like this. So we write contracts, but the attorneys will have their folks, they get involved and they
take it to close. The attorneys do.
I also hired a transaction coordinator. You see that, game changer. So the transaction coordinator took a lot off of Peter's plate so he could go grow his business. But he oversees anybody I hire and tells them how to do everything, because I don't even know anymore how to do all the back end stuff. So the name of the game. So my goal is just to be talking to my customers all day long.
That's exactly.
And I do the showings. I interface with everyone. That's
how I do my team. Like I'm the guy, like, they call me first, they call me last, and I do the negotiation, I pull the strings, and I've got this great team that handles everything else. Scheduling, like taking that off my plate was huge. I mean, first big thing I did 10 years ago was I took my cell phone off of all my listings, right? And I put up
do that.
Look, let me tell you. So I did that, and I put a team number there that reaches one of my team members, right? And it's directed there. Phone call comes in. That person does the scheduling between either the other agent or the buyer and the seller. Puts it on my calendar or my showing specialist calendar, and we go show it. And by taking that off of my plate, I'm able to do more Bonneau stuff where I'm good at using my EQ, emotional intelligence. Again, going back to that, where I'm really, really good. And I'm not good at so many different things, and being able to backfill that has really been able to help me scale my business. Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you could give one word of advice to new agents that haven't hired anybody, who would be the first person that they should hire?
A good director of operations, somebody that knows how to set up your systems, do exactly what you said. I mean, if you're just an individual agent starting out, I think one person is fine that is good at the back end, that is good as the operations, that is good at spreadsheets, that is good at, on the phone, very tech savvy, marketing, now social media, that's a whole nother thing. I mean, I now have I outsource my marketing. So I would say a really good director of operations.
So how do you know when it's the right time to hire that person? Is it based off you seem to have really good instinct. You seem to, gather the data really fast, and you're just like, all right, now's the time. But for those listening, how do you know when is the right time to make that hire?
I think when you're like about to crash, I was just working,
having nervous breakdowns.
Just working at midnight and doing everything. And I mean, when the business starts to, and then when you can afford it, I mean, you have to do everything yourself and then start releasing it,
I had lunch with 2 agents yesterday. They're on a team. It's just 2 guys. And we had the conversation, and, they were doing 20 million bucks and they want to do 40 million the next year. My advice to them was, hey, don't wait till you can afford to bring somebody in. If you wanted to be a $40 million producer, what does a $40 million producer have? Well, they have an assistant.
You're right.
So go ahead and get that person now so you can scale to get to that point.
Agreed. You're absolutely right. It's very scary, but if you have a plan together, which I didn't, it just kind of was ad hoc, but now I do. Now I know I invested in a marketing team. I need another assistant, someone just to write contracts. Yes, that's my next move. So I'm going to be calling you now.
when we had dinner, overlooking what is that? What is that body of water that we were overlooking between Palm Beach and West Palm Beach?
That is the Intracoastal.
So we were sitting there overlooking the Intercoastal, big boats and lights, and the weather's perfect. I think there was a band going on. And Elizabeth and I were just talking, and I was asking her questions like, okay, from a team setup standpoint, this is kind of how I do. And she was like, oh, wow, that's cool. And that's great. And, that was a great conversation 2 years ago. And it sounds like to me, you've implemented, a lot of that conversation relative to where you are today. Because I think at that point you were doing, maybe 100, 120 million, 140 million, right? And you tacked on another 100, right?
Yeah. I mean, COVID helped. It was really, and I didn't really have all my systems in place. I mean, I definitely learned a lot from you, and I continue to learn how to grow my business. And I think it's time to create a team. I don't know. I'm still very conflicted about that, but COVID, being in Florida, we're a no tax state, no estate tax. COVID, everyone was here, and instead of New York City, and now that they can work anywhere, our median price is up 80% first half this year versus last year. And then conveys over to yes.
Crazy.
I mean, prices were doubling, now those days are gone. We've reached a new high. But folks want to live here. I think we're a very positive business environment. Safety, I'm hearing now from all of my buyers and people moving here. I've never heard that before. Why are they moving here? Because they want to be in a safe neighborhood. So really, I think we're where I am. There's a ton of investment in downtown West Palm Beach. We're calling it the Wall Street of the South. So all the New York finance firms are setting up some shop in downtown West Palm Beach. You can just live, work, and play here, and it's an amazing lifestyle. It's a great spot, and I really believe I'm in the right place at the right time with the right training that I was fortunate to get a long time ago. So it was a perfect storm.
How many of these buyers that you have right now are coming from other cities and kind of coming to Palm Beach for the first time?
I bet over 75%, right?
No, they've been in Palm Beach.
Okay.
They've traveled to Palm Beach. Their parents have been in Palm Beach. They vacationed in Palm Beach growing up. A lot of them grew up on the island of Palm Beach, and now it's gotten so crazy stratospheric that they're doing what we call crossing the bridge and coming to West Palm Beach, this amazing neighborhood called the South End. You walk along the Intercoastal where we were, Bonneau, you see yachts cruising by. It's just a fabulous lifestyle. You drive your kids to, there's 3 or 4 private schools around here. It's just it's a spectacular lifestyle. Now I have investors that have bought up lots in this neighborhood, and you can look at my website. We call it Palm Beach Elegant, south of Southern. 7 new construction homes coming on. They'll be ready next year. So no, buyers, young families are shopping, and everybody wants to come to Palm Beach. And then you realize what you get in Palm Beach, and you cross over the bridge to West Palm Beach, and you can get a new construction home. $1,100 a square, $1,100 to $1,400 a square is what a new construction home will trade for in West Palm Beach. The island of Palm Beach, they're trading for $4,000 a square. So again, everybody wants new construction because, the homes here are older. You get what we call a ranch house that was built in the 60s, or on the island of Palm Beach, these homes were built in the 20s. So it's cool to have a historic home, but it's just, it's not feasible many times.
Sure.
So.
Elizabeth, I'd love to know kind of what your typical day looks like, right? I mean, doing that much business, what time do you wake up? What do you do to start? Do you have to-do lists? Do give tasks to your director of operations? Like, how do you start your day, or frankly, start your week?
Yeah, I mean, I do plan, and I like to get up and exercise in the morning, gets me started. And my whole team does, actually. We have a group calendar. We all, we time block. I don't know. I either do my little workout class at 8, 9, or 10:30. And so if it's 8, I get up and go. If it's 10:30, I wake, I get up and I start sending out emails, answering emails, replying to emails. I'm on the phone a lot, it just depends. And then, I work out of my house. My office is for my staff, and I'll pop in and out and meet them, but I do better. It's all I know. So I do better out of my home office. And then I'm on the phone, I'm in the car, I'm rolling around. But we meet once a week with my marketing people and my director of operations, will implement. And then, so I'm kind of setting strategy now. And then I show houses, talk to customers, meet with customers all day. Yeah. But every day is different. It depends. Our summer is different. People are typically not here, and our summer is used to run, like our season when everyone's here typically ran from November through the end of April. So like Thanksgiving through Easter, Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is now, I don't know. So anyway, and then we would have a summer, but now more young families are living here full time. So our summer has gotten shorter. So now I'm seeing folks come back to town, circling around. Our business starting to pick up again, and they're shopping. We are hopefully anticipating they will buy fourth quarter again.
Awesome.
We were busy through the summer for the last 2 years, 3 years.
You mentioned to me a week or two ago that the fourth quarter you anticipate is going to be your best fourth quarter ever, or maybe the best fourth quarter ever down there on the island. Mm-hmm. How do you foresee that? Right. Because we're seeing in Atlanta, a slowdown. I tell people that it's feeling like it's 2018, 2019. That's okay. Right. You can't do what we've been doing forever. And, it's going to take 3 to 6 months to sell a house. There might be a price reduction in there. The good stuff, like the really, really rare good stuff, 1% stuff, that still sells right away. The typical average house, it's a sales process, right? You think that this fourth quarter in Palm Beach and West Palm is going to be, to the moon, right?
Yeah. And that's coming from the Compass economists and our sales managers and my gut also, because I think, in this market, we are a luxury market. Palm Beach is the number one luxury market in the country. And then there's Aspen. And then there's, the Hamptons and Nantucket. But I think, or we know that these folks were, traveling and back to their lives. They were in their Hamptons house. They were in Aspen. They haven't been there in 3 years. So now they're traveling and enjoying their life. They will come back in September, end of September, when that's all gone. And New York's cold, and until the taxes and the crime everywhere else are fixed, our business is going to continue to thrive, and we're going to grow. That's just what's happened. That's what I'm hearing from my buyers. So therefore, if they don't have a house yet, they're going to pull the trigger fourth quarter this year. All their friends are here now.
All their friends are here.
They get it.
So when talking to people that sell as much real estate as you, right? There's 2 sides of the day, right? There's the urgency side of the day, and that is returning emails, returning text, returning phone calls. And then there's the important side of the day, where a lot of our people that have been on this show have been blocking off to figure out the future and to time block to say, okay, here's how I'm going to be better next year and change the system, right? Very, very important to separate the two. Do you separate the two at all, or do you just roll? Like you wake up and you just go for it and just kind of.
I just roll. I'm trying, I'm getting there. I need to go there. I'm not there yet, but okay. I do plan, I'm planning my marketing for, for fourth quarter, which is, for the season, I call it. I used to just be throwing money, just spend, and I'll try this, I'll try that, I'll try that. Now I kind of get it. Now I kind of understand and I can plan. I mean, and I think it's very, very important. I mean, to have an end goal and to set goals. I like that. And I now have the support staff to where I can stop and think about the future and am I going to grow a team? Am I getting, I do have a couple, you know, Peter's now doing his thing. And then I've got I have brokers come in from, you know, I just added a girl from Compass from New York. But these are folks that know what they're doing. So they will just come take their New York business, all their clients that are moving here. So I do need to do that. I haven't, but
you know, Elizabeth, it's a great thing to do. I mean, in my last several years of doing this, I've decided, okay, I'm growing my business in Atlanta. God, it's going great. But what else can I be doing to grow? And in that thought process, I said, well, I'm going to start a Team Bonneau, which is my team of 9 people. Let's start working on new developments, right? So we work to get a Coulter building in Atlanta. Coulter's out of West Palm, as you know. And we took over the exclusive marketing of a 22-story building with 43 units. So that was a great kind of add-on that I kind of said, okay, I want to add on that. And then another year came by and I said, okay, I'm going to add a whole nother location. That location's 5 hours away from Atlanta. That's on the coast of Georgia, Sea Island, Georgia. And the thought behind that was, golly, all of my clients, right, that are going to have a second home are probably going to be looking in the St. Simons, Sea Island area. Might as well try to open up something there to still work and give the same support and quality that we do in Atlanta to those same clients that already know us to go buy something at Sea Island. And Sea Island has a much higher price point than Atlanta does. I mean, I closed over $30 million in July in St. Simons. And guys, that was an afterthought of just kind of starting and saying, okay, how can I continue to grow as a team, as a person? And I did the same thing down on 30A in Florida. Got a Florida brokerage license, got a great partner down there, Jimbo, on 30A. And we're selling a lot of property down there, right? And all that was developed in this time block where I've got to say, how am I going to keep doing what I'm doing and keep growing, right? So you're kicking ass, right? You're just doing great. You're 6 years in. My advice is just to kind of maybe time block and do some important side to figure out where else you want to go. Do you want to have a team in Miami? Do you want to go up to Jupiter? Like, you know, how can all that work? And that also goes back to expanding your team a little bit.
Well, so 95% of listeners right now, Elizabeth, would do anything to be in your position, right? And I want to hear, I want to ask one last question from you. What's the one thing for those listeners that want to be the Elizabeth in their market? What's the one thing that you can suggest to them doing differently, or what you've done differently? What's that one tactic that you feel like they can benefit from to be that Elizabeth in their market?
Get listings. My objective was to get listings. So
great advice.
When I started, you know, I would time block and sit down, and I call it dialing for dollars. You know, I would search our property appraisers, see who should, you know, be selling, and I would find their phone number and call them.
So simple, yet that's the backbone, guys. This is really, really important, right?
Really important.
That's the backbone of our business agents. It's control the inventory, get the listings, right? If you've got the listings, you already have the buyers, right? You can get a 6%er, right? Or whatever's comparable in your marketplace, get the bonus, but also by having that listing, you get other listings. That's the best billboard for you, right? That's the thing, guys. So the big takeaway, get the listings, guys. Elizabeth, you've been absolutely awesome. This has been one heck of a show, Chris.
Awesome. So good. Elizabeth, thank you for your time. This has been
Thank you, guys.
You are fantastic. I'm Bonneau Ansley signing off.
Yeah, this is Brokering Billions, baby.